Hello everybody, and welcome back to the LJL Officially Unofficial cast. I am still your host, but I'm also maybe playing some form of hype man role again. Alex, otherwise known as Lexi, for Master One on the internet, joined by the impeccable Initialize Sam Hapgood, rather, not Alex.
Oh no.
I'm seeing Nymera.
Right.
I forgot to change your name underneath. I need to quickly do some editing magic.
No, that's not good. While you're doing that, I'll introduce myself. Yeah, I'm here. I'm Initialized. I'm here to cast a little bit more of the LJL, the last two games of Week 6. I'm pretty excited to be here, and I'll be casting alongside my Swan again, which will be a real pleasure. I'm looking forward to it again, buddy.
Yes, Nymera has had to leave for prior commitments, which we all obviously understand totally and support him 100%. But with that in mind, I will be taking over some of that casting duty that I sort of do. I sort of vaguely did yesterday.
Hands on a little bit, which is quite nice. Get your hands a bit dirty involved with all this. Should be some good stuff for sure. And we've got an interesting game coming up, haven't we?
Yes, we've got Rascal, Jester, who are our first team to be currently picking up that first win from the 4 and 6 group of 5 teams, facing off against V3, who have yet to play a game today. So the last
it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's Boogie and the team of V3. Can they fight out and really pull themselves into a really persuasive spot? And this is the time they need to do it. Or can Rascal Jester basically lock up that playoff spot in a day?
This would be a real boon for Rascal Jester for sure. But having said that, we've seen some pretty impressive stuff specifically out of Boogie, who could definitely put Rascal Jester in a serious bind. Like his Echo game from Week 5 was pretty spectacular.
Yep.
Did win them or get them a win. And V3 have had moments of brilliance. They've also had moments of serious mediocrity, which is what I'm worried about a little bit. And Rascal Jester, in these high-pressure situations, have got a lot of experience on their roster. Art, Vivid, Ninja, Hatcher, Metcher have all been through some pretty long and storied careers. I was reminded the other day that Ninja was one of the teams that took down the GE Tigers way back at IEM with WE, World Elite, over in China back in 2015. This guy has been around the globe, playing all over the place.
That is kind of just an impeccable career. The only member on V3 that can truly match him is Boogie, who former Flash Wolves player, obviously MSI, World's contender, I believe he's also been. So only player that can at least match a candle towards Ninja and career. Obviously, I do have to agree with you. Rascal Jester definitely do have a fair few years on their career playing in high-stress environments, but V3 definitely have been pulling out over the last week or so, kind of showing up like, no, we want to make playoffs. We don't want to just fall out, where they did look like they could have at the end of going into Week 5, really. They looked little bit precarious, were bottom at the standings at some point, so good to see them round it out at the end.
Yeah, and it does mean that V3 aren't out of this race yet. They've still got 2 games to play, but the problem is when they've seen a lot of their competitors pick up their wins already, it starts to get a little bit nerve-wracking, and this will be an important game. Do you know who the rest of V3's opponents
are? So the V3 opponents will be Burning Core. So we have
also looking a little bit on the weaker side, so maybe they've got a couple of options here to pick up some wins at the end of this split.
I mean, going 2-0 against Rascal Jester into Burning Core would basically almost set them up for that playoff spot, and this is why we're talking about it so much, because playoffs, that what you care so much about is that playoff position. Making into playoffs means you're a contender to go to MSI. Whereas if you lose it now, it's all over and you've got to wait all the way till summer to even have an opportunity to play at Worlds, which is just such a long break. That's why these teams are going to be fighting for every little scrap they can get, because it's what they need. And I think with that all in mind, it's about time we go into the pick and ban phase and see where these teams truly go into it. As we do a slight blast from the past, I will quickly count us in so we can be all nice and synced up. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go on to the Rift.
And of course, it is a complete pleasure to be here and casting with you, my friend, Masked Swan. And we're in to draft. Rascal Jester will be taking the blue side this time around. And it will be Cog in the top lane, Hachimecha in the jungle, Ninja in the mid lane with his long and storied career. And it'll be Art and Vivid, one of those really experienced bot lanes for the side of Rascal Jester.
And for V3 Esports, it's going to be Paz in their top lane, Boogie in their jungle, Ace in the mid lane, Archer as their bot lane carry, and Reina as their support.
Yeah, and we've seen some bans come through already. It's Echo and LeBlanc taken off the table by Rascal Jester, and it's V3 removing the Ornn and the Jarvan.
I mean, there's a lot of respect coming out for Boogie here. We hinted at it in the pre-show. Boogie has been so strong on this Echo. It's almost become his comfort pick in a weird way. Been playing it a fair few times, and whenever he plays it, V3 always look a fair bit stronger and even pick up some wins. That Elise ban also a huge target. I don't mind the LeBlanc ban. I think LeBlancs almost have to be banned nowadays. It's either high priority picked or banned. And Ace has shown some strong showings on it, so not too surprised. Whereas V3 obviously ending out with the Sejuani. Hachimecha has played Sejuani, actually picked up a win in the last game with Sejuani. Makes sense to just ban it out and maybe make them a little bit weaker.
Yeah, I completely agree, but that does leave the Aphelios open, and that means that Art will get his hands on that, has looked pretty strong on that champion, but then again, it feels like a lot of ADCs have looked very strong on Aphelios. He does have a lot of power in his kit. V3, though, looking potentially towards the Tahm Kench Senna bot lane if they lock this in. That Senna is still open, is still really obnoxious with that pairing when she just gives all the CS to the Tahm Kench, who becomes an unstoppable bulwark in the front. Set locked in second here as well, because there's no chance of Rascal Jester really taking the center at this point, so they are safe to go for the set that's free.
I mean, they could hate pick the Senna and have Senna as a true support for once.
I suppose that's a possibility.
It's not crazy.
Yeah, you could see it for sure.
But I really hope Rascal Jester don't do this. Every time I saw it, I begin to cry. I wince. I don't. God. It's
Mordekaiser is pretty strong if you play it right. You can really win around objectives big time because the smite is just off the table, and that's huge.
But we've seen countless times the set Mordekaiser matchup. While it's meant to be a counter, it just is so hard for Mordekaiser early game to remotely even have a lane, as we see Ninja lock in the Trundle for Hachimecha, as obviously we've seen two large, rather tanky boys coming out from V3. Not too surprising. Could have potentially been avoided that pick if they had gone for the center instead of the set, but I guess you want to really prioritize the set, but so you don't give it over to the side of Rascal Jester. Does make some sense though.
And the Senna is locked in here as well. So that's now there. The Senna Tahm Kench locked in and kind of towards the Mordekaiser as well. You're right. I'm not a massive fan of the Mordekaiser set matchup. We've seen it go the way of set quite a lot very recently. I think there's also some point, though, that actually Ninja also plays this champion. So there is room to flex it away from the set. But, of course, V3 can also flex set around. So I wonder whether Mordekaiser is just going to be tried to be moved around to avoid that slightly difficult matchup. Blitzcrank banned away from Vivid, though.
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to do an aggressive support, maybe some of the counters for that matchup down in the bot lane of Senna and Tahm Kench. Blitzcrank really awkward.
Well, you do get the 2-for-1 special.
Exactly. You can either get the 2-for-1 special, or you can just do some really awkward picking up the Senna or pick up the Tahm Kench, and just commonly, if you do it under tower with the Aphelios, we've seen countless times before, when you can also just do the stun with the Aphelios, the root rather, of the Aphelios, it gets so hard to get your placement right. As we see, is this just going to become a standard thing in the LJL that we're expecting at some point? Yeah, Nocturne banned, pretty standard, I think.
Yeah, Nocturne is very good for the side of Ace. He does love playing it. V3 have looked very good with that combo, specifically of the Echo and the Nocturne, but both now off the board. Bard banned away from Vivid, who is a bit of a Bard one-trick when he wants to be, and sadly for us, happily for Nymera, wherever he may be, there is no Bard on the table. This is still a Bard. And Zoe taken away from Ace as well. And that's kind of Ace's really good, effective champion pool off the table now. The Nocturne, the Zoe, the LeBlanc, the kind of things which we've seen him look pretty good on when he has had good games. He's been our weaker mid laners. He's still got the Jace in his back pocket if he does want to go to that, but I think that would be a bit of a surprise. Looking potentially to Sin is locked.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I really like the Nocturne ban because if you just give it over to Ace, they're playing the Tahm Kench lane anyway, so they have great mobility. You just take TP on your top laner and you can just basically show up in any lane. Syndra, pretty interesting pick. Kind of surprised they didn't try and do the top lane, or the jungle pick there and leave it more open that they can just counter pick the mid lane. Maybe a slight misplay, but I guess they really, as you already know, you've got a Trundle in the jungle. Bit questionable, but I mean, I guess you really want to prioritize the Syndra, and I mean, if you're Ace and you really want to take that away from Ninja and you want to play it yourself, that makes total sense. As we see Azir coming out for Ninja.
Not a bad matchup into the Syndra. You're not necessarily going to die there, but if you can time yourself right, and the Pike locked in is a huge callback. That is a very aggressive pick. Well, the Blitzcrank might be down, and the Bard might be down. Another counter pick into the Tahm Kench is the Pike, who basically ignores all of that grey health with his execute. So if they can get the Tahm Kench down, he can disappear from that to that death.
Yeah, and I mean, it's basically like if you take away Blitz, what's the closest champion towards Blitzcrank? Well, another champion that is a support that pulls people towards them is that Pike. I mean, I get the idea. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's
We've seen it a few times before, like particularly in Europe. We've seen Pike into Tahm Kench a couple of times. The fact that you can ignore so much of the Tahm's kind of normal tankiness through the grey health is very powerful. So we could see that going forward. And like Vivid is one of those guys who does love his engage jump, does love his pick jumps. We've seen the Blitzcrank and the Bard taken off the table for a reason. There's a reason this guy is famous for his Rakan, for his Thresh.
True.
So this is definitely within his wheelhouse. And I'm looking forward to see whether he can get that bot lane snowballed. On the other side, though, Boogie did go towards the Gragas, and that's a fair amount more engaged. And I think their comp is probably a little more standard. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. I also really am not a fan on the Trundle pick. I get why you've picked it. You've picked it into a set, into a Tahm Kench. You know you're going to be able to pull them down pretty quick. The thing is, Set goes off tank, and Tahm Kench with a Senna, while he does go incredibly tanky, at that same time, it's not the kind of tank that you really want to quickly kill and burst down or get out the way, because it's Tahm Kench. He has his thick skin, which just means it takes you twice as long sometimes to actually get through a Tahm Kench. You want to forget about Tahm Kench half the time and try and go on everybody else. So, I think that's the only thing I'm a little bit outside of the Mordekaiser, which we've already spoken about. I do love the mid and bot lane from the Jesters, though. It's so spicy, but it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So much displacement with the Azir and the Pike. It's just such a lovely combination.
Yeah, on the other side, though, V3 have got themselves a really lovely standard comp. They've got the Set, who's obviously been a very powerful top lane pick. They've got the Gragas for a lot of engagement from there. They've got a Syndra and a Senna, who are just two very good carriers. Anybody who was watching the notorious POB last night versus Team Liquid on COG can see how much damage this champion can do. You do have a lot of room to just run over games potentially on a Syndra. But of course, for Rascal Jesters, we've talked about that Pike combo against the Tahm Kench, and it's not like Azir scales badly, right?
No. Arguably very well. He actually scales very nicely into the late game because of that attack speed that happens with the soldiers. Having to take cleanse though for Ninja is a little bit worse, but I think this Azir is going to be really nice for Ninja in this mid lane.
Completely agree, and as long as he can cleanse out of stuns, should hopefully be able to survive some of the burst that Ace on this Syndra could be putting out. So we'll find out. I would be curious to see how the Mordekaiser set matchup goes, whether it's going to fall through to what we've seen of Mordekaiser set matchups in the past. But we've also got to be aware that Paz has had a bit of an indifferent split so far. I mean, last year I had a lot of praise for the guy. I thought he was doing particularly well, especially when it came around playoffs. But during the regular season, he's been a little bit kind of off, losing a lot of matchups he maybe shouldn't have been, as Reyna and Archer is actually setting up a bit of a bush bait here. As Vivid and Art going to try and stay out of the way. The tongue lash does land, but that's all it is.
the old, we'll see if we get them. When it actually comes to it, you look at it and go, nah, I don't think we should. I think we should just back off. Let's not do anything crazy. We are just Tahm Kench and Senna. Our level 1 isn't actually anywhere near as strong as a Pyke and a Felios, whose level 1 is actually basically on par with, like, basically Vayne Blitzcrank, which is pretty strong.
I can imagine Vayne Blitzcrank being okay. Did you run Condemn first on the Vayne at that point?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You're going Condemn. You're going for the max, like, try and pull someone knock them, and just get all the auto attacks on both of them, because everybody's level 1, so even Blitz is doing reasonably decent damage.
Yeah. Well, either way, though, Archer and Reyna do get the shove in the level 2 first, so going fairly well for them there. Also worth pointing out that Art and Vivid kind of faked a leash for this Trundle, who was kind of actually starting on the blue side. That's a very even Twitter vote, just in the favor of V3, but this could go either way, and I kind of have to agree. And looking at these drafts as well, I think both teams have got a lot of win conditions, even if V3's is a little more standard.
Yes, I mean, we keep saying more standard, more what we'd expect from these teams. The thing is, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna win, because, I mean, as we've seen countless times, you draft the, quote, standard or better team, but the problem is, if you can't play it, or the execution isn't there, it's all rather redundant at the end of the day. Everybody's played solo queue. We all know what it feels like when you're like, our team should win, and then 20 minutes in, you're like, alright, let's forfeit. So, let's see how this goes. And I mean, as you said, the Jesters have a lot of options into this game through Pyke, through Azir, even with a good
hook. Doesn't matter though, because Tahm Kench is there. The last embrace does miss, and that'll just be a nice little move from Vivid for style points rather than anything else.
Yeah, and this Mordekaiser come late game could potentially just take Ace or Archer out of a fight, and that's a lot of the V3's damage comes mid to late game, so we'll have to wait and see how this goes out, as people are just kind of having fun pokey times while not a lot is actually being achieved through all of it, because when you're attacking tanks, it's not that effective, I've heard.
Yeah, so we hear either way, we're looking at pretty even CS across the board, though. The Mordekaiser actually coming out on top so far versus Paz. At least while the Mordekaiser is shoving out, perhaps Paz can pick up a bit of this wave. Difficult to see from behind the character portraits.
Yeah, it's probably just one of them's pushed in, the other one hasn't. Very standard thing. It is going to be interesting, as this dragon is going to be an infernal dragon. Not really a dragon that mid to late game you're going to be too concerned about if it was a one-off. But in this early game, even though it basically gives half the stats of Season 9, it does a half-decent amount of damage.
We're seeing Paz has started the face breaker, and Boogie is coming in with the Predator pop, looking to get onto Cogcog. It's in a 1v2. That's a nice flash out, and now Paz is quite low, but Cogcog's stuck in this alcove. Gonna try and get a kill onto Paz back. Not quite enough, and first blood over to this set.
That was really well done by Boogie. Just using his standard pathing, going around. Even went through vision, so Cogcog should have been aware of that. Gragas was coming down to say hello to him, but maybe wasn't checking the map, or maybe just a little bit unaware on communication from that side, as we do see both the top laners TPing back to lane as if nothing ever happened, and can continue the push and play.
Yeah, and that's a nice sort of relief of the pressure that Paz was under there. It was well played by him to get the face breaker. And let's see through this replay. So I think, is Boogie on this ward here? This will be quite telling. No, he's not on the ward. They think he's going to go towards the Crux. Cogcog thinks he's safe. God. And that's a big deal. It means that when Paz starts this up, Cogcog finally realizes he's in trouble, flashes away from the Haymaker, but it's just not enough. Does get pulled out. And yeah, even the Obliterate at the end isn't enough to stave off the first blood for set.
I'm a little bit surprised that he decided to flash there. Especially where he decided to flash to. I think the Enclave flash is a little bit hopeful in a lot of spots. You've already seen Boogie is running into your lane. Maybe you just try and bait out the knock-in from Gragas, and then try and flash that. I don't know. Very hard though to normally miss that, because Gragas is so good at ganking pre-6, and then once 6 does come, it's even harder to get away from a Gragas. So
well, Gragas running Predator and with flash up is a nightmare. Like, what if once his Predator's down, once the flash is down, he's a lot more easy to deal with. You know, his body slam's a lot more avoidable. But when that flash is up, that kind of shotgun gank, as we've termed it, is pretty obnoxious. either way, Mordekaiser doing all right. It looks like he's going to be going towards either Ninja Tabi or the Seeker's Arm Guard first with the double cloth armor, which is pretty good into the Conqueror set.
Ooh, what's happening, Boogie? Are you gonna...
Vivid's just here to irritate this Gragas, who's the same level as Vivid, by the way.
The thing is,
jungle changes so irritate me.
The thing is, at that same time, it's like, well, I'm a support, and I'm a support Pike. I'm not going to fight a Gragas that can probably almost go 1v1 with a Mordekaiser. I'm good. I'm not going to fight this. As we see Boogie and Ace starting up this dragon. Pretty standard. I think there's nothing really on the side of for Rascal Jester that they can really pick up and apply pressure outside of just making sure they can get their jungle effectively and maybe not lose too much farm.
Yeah, they might think about going towards the Herald that's spawning in 20 seconds. Boogie will have a little bit of time to reset, but at the very least you expect Trundle to have at least a first call towards that. I don't think they're going to bother. For now, at least, Cog pushing in the wave up top, and that'll be the end of all that business for now.
Yeah, and I think Cog's just going to go back.
Good hook. But again, it's not going to matter because it's Tahm Kench. I don't know why I'm getting excited.
it's on Tahm Kench, or even if it does go on Archer on the center, Tahm Kench just eats her and then just is like, it's fine. I got you. It's fine. You're not dying. I'll save you. I can be your hero, baby.
Looking to get a shove on here. Ninja does get it onto Ace, who burns the heal. There's still the pillar there, and it forces the flash out from Ace. Double summoners down on this mid laner, who is actually down 10 CS and is going to have to back away from this tower as well.
Yeah, and this is going to give a lot of priority over to the side of the Jesters now, especially on that top side. Hachimecha should be rushing at some point very soon over to this Herald so they can try and pick up at least some form of objective advantage because they know they've got the top lane priority and that mid lane priority now. They need to be aggressively taking it. If they don't do it in the next minute or so, I'm going to be rather disappointed because that's just free objective that just V3 can't contest for. But that was really well played by Ninja, actually, just to get the Azir ult behind the Syndra at the right moment, just so Ace couldn't actually get away from it in the right spot.
And hear ye, the Herald of Summoner's Rift has some important news for you. Vivid has ticked over to level 6. This Pike has got the ultimate available, and suddenly that kill threat in the bot lane is just that significant level higher. Keep an eye on where that Pike ends up roaming. Could be pretty impactful, especially with the Herald now live, and Vivid looking for a roam with his Moby Boots active.
Yeah, this is very standard. The second you hit 6 with a Pike, you want to try and find a pickup, basically become the second jungler for at least a minute or two, try and find a pick, try and get some deep wards in. If you're able to do something, sweet. If you're not, well, you just get some good wards and hopefully your team's able to play around that vision that you're offering them. And then from there, you can rotate back down to your bot lane, say hello to your carry and be like, all right, buddy, I got a kill. Don't worry, we're winning. I did it. It's fine. It's
going to pull Ace over the wall. Has no flash, remember. This Syndra is in a bit of a trouble. It's a decent stun onto Ninja, but nothing else. Could have been significantly worse. Ace, though, is forced to pop a corrupting potion, but of course, because he's only just come back to the lane, he's still got all of those stacks available. Be able to heal just about right up, and then walking into Boogie, who's got a double cast, but he knocks him away. But Vivid's going to try and heal up. He does heal up. Is around the corner. That Pike healing is obnoxious. Looks for hook, only hits the minion.
Well, I
was definitely expecting. Ooh, hang on. We've seen a Moonlight Vigil come through with the Calibrum, allowing for that extra auto attack, forcing Archer away, who has to burn the heal as well. It means that Hachimecha and the rest of the Jesters get to start up this Herald.
Yeah, that was a really nice pickup from the side of the Jesters. I mean, I do feel a little bit sad for Vivid. He arguably got the best carry on the team at that time, of that being Ace, over the wall. Just none of the Jesters were quite expecting him to really make that pull, and then couldn't collapse on and truly punish. Then they're able to hurt back. Then they get punished on. Sadly, Boogie Gragas ults, throws the team away instead of actually
that's the problem.
Towards them, which is what they really wanted. They could have definitely got that pick on Vivid. And if they get that pick on Vivid, the rest of the team, I don't think they're confident enough in really being able to take this Herald. But because of how low the team of V3 do end up getting through all of that and not getting a kill to potentially hold off Rascal Jesters, they're able to... Basically, they're going to have to reset while Rascal Jesters do take that Herald. So that was eventually it was a Herald for a dragon, but we will see another dragon up in just a minute.
Yeah, it could be pretty huge. That Mountain Drake will be coming up with the second of the game. It means we're either going to get an Ocean or Cloud Rift, depending on the luck of the draw. One would hope for Ocean Soul. That's always the more powerful and interesting one of those Drake Souls. But for now, the gold is pretty even. It's about 200-300 in the favor of V3, but that is it. You are looking at a Drake over to V3, but the Herald over to Rascal Jesters. And this game continues to be very even.
It is. I mean, the next Drake we're going to be seeing is going to be a Mountain Drake, so we're kind of flipping coins whether it can be that Ocean
David looking
Drake.
for an hook. Actually, the Graviton root's going to force Archer in, but the Black missed their huge response, and Gragas is here for the counter gank. Good sidestep by Archer there, using the Black Mist there to get out of the root. Very swift movement speed after that, and does end up meaning that nothing occurs down at that bot lane gate, which could have been pretty disastrous. Actually, for either team, because Boogie was there as well.
Yeah, Boogie was there waiting for them. Reyna also with Archer there, so it was going to be very hard, even if they did get a pick from Vivid. Potentially, Reyna just goes, "Nah, you're going in my belly, and I'm just going to protect you, mate. It's fine. Don't worry, I got you. I'm Tom Kench."
Here we go again. So hook onto Tom Kench.
Tom Kench, though.
He is very tanky, especially with actual items to his name. So much harder to pull off the executes that the Pyke wants to. If this is like a support Tahm Kench, like true support Tahm Kench, he's just so much lower in terms of items that you can chunk him through a bit quicker. But at this point, he's got a Giant's Vet, he's got a Giant's Belt, Ninja Tubbies, and a Cloth Armor in inventory. He's so hard to chunk through right now.
Yeah, and everyone's so used to it just being a normal support Tahm Kench that we've played with for years. No, because it's Senna. Senna's the carry, but she gets the gold an unconventional way. So it's very confusing when you think about it, because you basically do just get more gold through pressure. And as we see here, V3 are just taking down this dragon. I can't see really Hachimecha being able to truly do this. They did let it reset, which is a huge mistake.
That's a big double stun, though. That's huge. And the teleport is coming through. Look at the back here. The hook goes wide. And actually, V3, come on, massive shuffle, but there's a great stopwatch from Boogie, but Reyna's now in trouble. Remember, there's still
running up from behind.
No, it's missed. It's flashed out. Well played by Reyna. But look at the back line. That's a massive showstopper to return it. Ninja survives the true damage, though. Cog has got Paz into the death realm. Is kind of stuck in a bit of an awkward spot, though. And actually, the dragon is now going to reset. V3 with the better health bars, though, mean they're going to be able to start this dragon up. And it will be theirs, I believe.
Yeah, this should definitely be theirs. There's no one on the side of the Rascal Jesters that can all contest this. Even if the three members that are still on that bot side of Hachimecha, Cog, and Vivid went at it, they're just going in just to say they tried to their boss who when they die. Like, it's kind of going, well, we tried, we died, but we tried. It's like, did you though? Maybe trying was not doing the silly thing. As we do get that Ocean Drake you hinted towards earlier, always the more exciting one. And when you're playing Tahm Kench, Set, and Gragas, that's definitely the type of Drake that you want to see coming through. It just means these fights that you are happy to go on for so much longer, well, you're set up with an Ocean Drake.
And we're seeing another one of these interesting set builds. Ebby did it the last time versus the Mordekais as well, where you start with a Phage, but then immediately pivot towards the Wit's End for the magic resist and attack speed. And Mordekaiser seems pretty unable to be able to deal with that in particular fashion. The response, though, from Cog is to go towards this Bramble Vest, which I kind of like, actually.
I mean, why are you taking Bramble Vest versus the team that V3? Senna's not a huge auto attack carry.
Well, it'll be for the 1v1 versus the Set, who's going to be punching real fast with this Wit. And it'll stop him. So all the autos he's doing will be hurting him significantly more. You probably don't want to compete up to a full mail anytime soon.
I get that, but we're going out of that mid game fight, and Rascal Jesters have drafted a team comp, right? They want to play team fights. So taking a Bramble Vest versus the comp of V3 just makes a little bit less sense, especially as laning phase is going to probably be over in the next 5-10 minutes, really.
I mean, the only reason I say it's still worthwhile is because actually we'll probably hold back on that for now, because the pillar comes down, Paz still has got his flash, may well have to use it, use the face breaker, and then the flash is away. But he's going to have to leave that lane alone for now. On the other side, though, V3, Archer, and Reyna continue to shove in this bot side. First turret was picked up by the Jesters earlier on in this game, so this will be the return play for the side of V3. On the other side, though, Jesters continue to push in this top side.
Yeah, I think that was just a very standard. You'll take our bot turret, we'll take that one now, and then we're gonna see if we can find a good pick here. But because our bot lane are in our mid lane, it's gonna be a little bit hard for us to get there as fast as we'd like until we get close enough for a Tahm Kench ult, if they do decide to do it, which I wouldn't be too surprised if they want to try and get a nice pickup, or if they want to try and push this mid lane.
I also just realized that because so much of Set's tankiness is in his sort of his haymaker shield, right? His ability to throw that out and then kind of tank up a lot of damage. Pike ult goes straight through that.
It does.
So suddenly it's not just the Tahm Kench, it's also versus the Set. I'm liking this Pike pick more and more, assuming it can actually find some kills. The problem is that actually, because the Tahm Kench has got gold under his name, it's harder to snowball off him.
Yep.
And currently Vivid's not found anything. At level 8, he's a little bit sort of low. Of course, as a support, you are quite a low level. So potentially not that great, but I like the theory crafting at least.
Yeah, no, the theory craft, like this, the last few picks from the side of the Jesters was really well picked. They just really drafted a slightly unconventional comp that actually has a lot of sense behind it, in like from a theory craft point of view, as we see a lot of poising and positioning.
Ooh. Well, that's a stopwatch kind of impromptu. Is going to earn him a lot of damage. And actually, Cogpog now in a death realm in a fight. I don't think he's going to win yet. Boogie slays that. It's a good Severamol over the wall, though, for a fair amount of healing. But look at Hachimecha taking another big stun from Ace. And actually, Ninja finally does manage to shuffle out. But I thought he was in trouble there with the Black Mist Embrace. And Ace is just about okay. Did get pulled back by Vivid, but hasn't used the ultimate. And Hachimecha very low at this point.
Yeah, Hachimecha is so low, it's just basically he's on a knife edge. We did see that Reina taking so much poke there as he was trying to leave very slowly. But it's Tahm Kench at 18 minutes with actual items. You can't kill him, even when you're dealing AP damage as Ninja. It's so hard to get through this man. And, well, the King of the Swamp is really living up to his name right now.
He is. This is my swamp, says Tahm Kench in the river. Can't kill him, and that's a serious problem right now. On the other side, though, Rascal Jesters are going to be scaling up. It's Nash's Tooth already complete for Azir. It's Essence Reader BF Sword for this Aphelios. Once they start hitting 2-3 items, both of those carries consistent damage is certainly going to be able to do a fair amount of work, especially because they are mixed damage as well. It's not like they can stack one resist or the other and be happy. Set's gone towards Black Cleaver, interestingly. I'm still not a massive fan of this, but on the other hand, because the Mordekaiser is going fairly armor stack with the Zhonya's and the Bramble Vest, maybe that's an okay pickup, but Trinity Force is so good for Set. Never entirely convinced by a Black Cleaver buy.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. I was really hoping for the Trinity Force to be the first, the second item, because the Wit's End was prioritized. Yeah, less sold on the idea. I mean, I get it.
Never mind. Vivid is going to have to stopwatch. It is in a bit of trouble. Does he have flash? Does manage to get out, but that's another stopwatch burned. Rascal Jester's precious few of those left. But V3 now position over this Drake, and they are commanding so far in this game, and they're positioning around these fights. That's a couple in a row. No kills per se, or only the one. But they've pretty much come out on top in the health trace every time, and this Drake is started up. The Sentinel turret goes down from Art, trying to buy people around. Gravitum as well, so if they do walk into it, can use that Q to keep people in place. Hachimecha, no flash, going to try and get in if he can, but he's got to be aware of the Smite Steal. That's a decent scatter of the week. No, the Trundle steals it. That's huge. Big deal. Hachimecha now probably going to die for the trouble, though. Yeah, he does. Unleashed power from Ace cleans him up in vengeance, but it's a Drake steal, and I feel that Rascal Jesters will think that's worth prevents soul point for V3.
Yeah, I mean, that part of the problem there is V3 had started Dragon while Boogie didn't have Smite. That was...
Oh dear!
That was just horrendously played as Boogie Smite just comes up. Probably could have poised there and positioned a little bit longer for that. I don't think that's really worth starting the Drake until you actually have the Smite, because if you do end up chunking it down as fast as you end up doing in that sense for V3, I think it was a little bit faster probably than they were expecting. It just means you just lose the Smite fight.
You're absolutely right. It is on cooldown at the beginning of this. You'd think they'd just stop damaging it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, or they just keep poising around it, baiting it out, because Hachimecha, you have to know he's got his Smite there.
Ooh, it's a
You
good
just see
double
him
stun
walk
top
up.
there.
Yeah.
Just walks up. It's 25 HP. He just, yep, well, I've got that one. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. Doesn't get out, though, as a result. But, you take that trade. That's a really important take. And Hachimecha is very happy to trade his life for it.
Oh, 100%. If you are
Oh,
Rascal
Ninja's in
just...
trouble here. There's a Predator gank with Ace and this. Gragase flashes out. Boogie's trying to get in. Doesn't get a lot from it. That was another cast that wasn't fantastic. Though I grant you that Ninja was a ways out. But now, look at the flank. We're going to see Cog coming in. It'll be a response from the set.
Oh, the
Massive trade, though. And it's a good set. Hachimecha does go down. And the Dawning Shadow is
Ninja.
there. Ninja is going to get run down. It's a double for this set. Who punches his way boss style to a victory, and it's actually 3 kills.
They're gonna
make that 4.
Yeah, they Baron.
Go straight to Baron.
What just happened? The whole side of Rascal Jester just got deleted for basically no reason because they wanted to try and get a pick there. Only Vivid up. Vivid, you are not going to be able to kill anyone really on this team. You're going to be able to maybe get 1 or 2 nice picks, but Boogie and Ace are just relatively safe from you. And, I mean, the rest of the team can just protect
because
them.
if he can get his ultimate off, maybe he can do something, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. He's going to pull away. Can't get in the end. Ace is very low. Maybe he can pick someone up or stop a recall, but no. That is now 7 kills to none. 37 gold to 32. And let's look at this one more time. It's the Predator gank coming in, and Ninja burns everything to get out.
Yeah, Ninja burns everything to get out. I mean, Boogie and Ace did miss a few of their abilities there. Pretty awkward, especially the Grog Assault specifically. This is the interesting point, right? Ace throws down that ward just so we can get him, get the top laner in of Paz. That showstopper was so strong, and then they just kind of go to work because half of the team of V3 are just not attacking the same target because Paz was able to use the discoordination and just disjoint the whole team fight as the rest of the bot lane is just Archer and Reyna are just able to kill up for basically free.
Yeah, and V3 now in very firm control. They've got the Baron Vivid desperately trying to find a pick, but Tom Kench saves his life, or Archer's life, that is. And that will be the end of that. And, with a 5k lead and Baron to push in all these towers up, there is so much standing gold to really balloon this gold lead. Looking for potentially a dive onto Ninja, who was trying to hold on for that tower. But the threat of Gragas running at him means he has to run away.
I would not be surprised here if V3 are able to get both of the outer turrets. As they get that top turret, they should probably also get this mid one. Because Baron, this early on into a game, is so backbreaking when you're on the opposite end. As they get that mid turret at 24 minutes in. V3 look like they are not only in the gold leader, about 6k now, they are also just in full control of this map. They have turret advantage, they have the dragon advantage, they have the kill advantage. Everything's coming up V3. They just now need to make sure to keep it going with 50 seconds almost on this Ocean Drake, and there's still another minute on this Baron buff. They're really pushing for all the objectives they can get.
Well, exactly. And I was so excited for this Pike pick, you know, and actually it's not managed to pull off all that much, whereas Paz on this set, which we were calling out, is they're having a bit of a quiet split. It's currently 4-0-2, a couple very meaningful teleports, and there's Tom Kench is such a tank, has got a Deadman's Plate and a Spectre's Cowl, utter nightmare to deal with, and Ace as well has been putting out some pretty good damage on this Syndra, another player I've been wanting to step up.
Yeah. I mean, Reyna, the whole team of V3 here have been playing so beautifully. Paz, as we've been saying, especially in our podcast, we were a little bit disappointed with his current showing in episode 4. We were like, come on, you're meant to be this kind of god of the LJL, and it's just not been playing out. Whatever was bugging him, or whatever was in the back room, or just communication, whatever Sengoku took, I mean, Paz has taken the same thing, and they've definitely been having a such better split as they V3 take this Drake uncontested.
Wow, it's about 6,500 gold lead for V3 at the end of that Baron. We're looking at a 3 Drake to 1 Drake lead as well. Ocean Soul on the line at the next fight. And at that point, I don't think Rascal Jester will have caught up in items. We've only finally had a completed item for Mordekaiser just now. He had bits and pieces of all the items in his inventory before this. So, yes, there are some items coming towards the Rascal Jester, but there's just way more in the inventory from V3, who've gone back and bought up a load of their own at this point.
Yeah. Paz has finished 3 items, whereas Cog has finished 1. I think that spells just how far ahead Paz is right now. And we've said it before. I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. At the moment, I really don't like this pick into the Mordekaiser because I just don't think Mordekaiser offers a lot against the set. It's specifically against the set. It just, yes, you can death round, but being able to completely disjoint your opposing's team fight with the set Showmaker ult is so different.
It is, and it is very strong.
Yes. Getting one player out of a team fight versus potentially just completely moving around everybody is just kind of weirdly different and weirdly effective sometimes. I think the other problem is Reyna is just causing nightmares for the team of Rascal Jester. Every time they try and get a pick on anybody, nope, I'm eating them. Every time they try and kill him, he's like, wait, no, you forgot I'm Tahm Kench. It's so difficult to actually peel for the side of Rascal Jester right now. As you could also just see that level advantage on supports, or air quotes support. If you compare Reyna or Archer, they're both level 3, whereas Vivid is only just ticked over to level 10, and Art is still sitting at level 12. This is not only a gold advantage, this is also level advantage as well coming through, and it's gets really hard to keep in parity when your opponents are so much further ahead.
Another attempted body slam there from Boogie, trying to force a flash out of Ninja. Not going to burn his own, though. Going to try and clear it out, but the side of Rascal just do have a fair amount of wave clear between and Zir, that's the one, and an Aphelios. That's a lot, and they do manage to force the side of V3 away from this top tier 2, so that's going to be held on to for now. But, you know, there are options for Jester if they can hold on maybe another 10 minutes. You know, there are some good scaling options. Azir and Aphelios do scale well. Mordecai is not bad in the late game. Trundle will get tankier. And if Vivid can find some kills to fund some other items to the side of Justice, it's not like they're entirely out of options, but it is looking pretty bleak when the gold lead is sort of 7,000 odd for V3. There's a lot of vision control. It's not like they scale badly either. Syndra is more than online. This set is, as you said, at 3 items. It's looking pretty good for V3 right now.
Yeah, V3 are definitely looking good, and they do have the scaling with Senna, with the Syndra, some very good champs who are more than happy if the game has to go a little bit late. They're okay with that. And when you've actually got a support, when you've got Tahm Kench who's also picking up a lot of gold, because it's all shared so effectively, it becomes incredibly difficult when you are literally going into fights. When it comes to gold wise, it's almost a 5v4 4v5 when you're looking at it from the side of Rascal Jester, because Pyke is just going to be so much further behind in comparison to Reyna.
Yeah, and it's a 2-item Tahm Kench at this point as well. He's got a stopwatch on top of it. He's not a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, and with this Ocean Drake, if they're able to get it in the next minute,
it takes so much damage.
Oh my
Dawning
god!
Shadow is huge. Takes mad damage. Boogie was trying to find a flank, but Vivid does survive for now. At least the Sun Turret in the mid lane is currently allowing some sort of like pseudo tower pressure. That is the power that Azir can bring with his passive, and he's going to continue to wave clear. Though we're looking at Baron control still very firmly over to the side of V3. I don't think Rascal just have a single ward in the river right now.
Nope. No, I can't see a single one. It looks like it's only in their side as Paz is looking for Cog.
Yeah, that's a lot of trouble. And that's a showstopper as well, just for more damage. Paz definitely winning out this trade for now. They are in the death realm. The Tahm Kench is here. Cog's taking a lot of damage. Flash is out, but Paz trying to find it. But that's a good heal. Maybe Paz has gone too far. He's got to devour, but he's still going to be burning down. No, he's got enough of the healing from his passive. He does get out alive, but he nearly went too far.
He really did.
But that's heal burn by Art as well.
He was not expecting that the whole side of Rascal Jester was going to bear. He was expecting 1, maybe even 2. I don't think he was expecting all 5 members. And he's like, oh, whoops, I don't want that. And then Reyna's like, come into my mouth. It's all right, fine. I'll take you back to safety. I'll spit you out the other way. You're fine. Don't panic.
But there you see it. There is still power on the side of Rascal Jester if they can get their carries free firing. I don't know how easy that will be when Set can showstopper people into the backline, and Vivid continues to take these pretty obnoxious poke chunks from the side of the Syndra.
This is
Wait,
gonna
look
be
at the
interesting.
teleport. Speaking of blank, so Showstopper's nearly up, and Set will be finding his way onto the
Archer?
backline. You imagine? Yeah, look at the backline. Ninja's found his way onto Archer, you're right, but Paz is here, but Cog is looking to stall that engagement with the backline, and the Jester's going to try and back out. The Death Grasp stops that in, but Hachimechi is now stuck in the middle of everyone. The Stone Plate is there. That Ace just unleashes all the power, takes up Vivid in the backline. Art is now way out of the way. The 7-mult misses, so no healing from him, and Ninja's now 1v1ing this Gragas. Is actually winning it, but I don't think it's going to matter for the QS is there trying to heal with the onslaught and does get out to Zart, but now Ninja is a long way away from any friends, has no mana, no hope. The one soldier coming up is about all he has. Archer looking to pick up his soul, claimed by the wife of Lucian, all of the piercing shadows coming through, and more souls for this ridiculously scaling AD carry.
Yeah, and I really like what they're doing here. Paz is almost just playing protection for this Drake. He's not going to take it. He's just there for protection while the rest of the team of V3 take this Baron. He's there to just prevent the idea for Rascal Jester to try and take this. And if they do go for it, as they are trying to, hopefully he's able to sustain it. As he just seems like, no, I've been told not to fight it. I'm not going to. We now know that they are doing it and they're just giving us a free trade and we don't need to worry about anywhere on map control.
Yeah, but that does prevent the soul going over to Rascal Jester, over to V3, sorry, which is another big deal. And that's going to at least stall that out for the side of V3, which is a big deal. But they've got a Baron buff, a big gold lead that's 10,000 strong at this point, by the way, and another Baron buff to shove into Rascal Jesters, who are looking more and more desperate.
I wonder if V3 are now thinking, can we have a perfect game? Are they going to be play a little bit too safe to try and keep their perfect game, or are they just going to still play down and dirty like they've been playing this whole thing? And
well, it'll be perfect in terms of the kill score. They have still lost 2 turrets and some objectives. It's not a true perfect game. But I grant what you're going at.
Oh yeah, I'm far more interested in kills than turrets and objectives.
Spoken like a true support.
Oh yeah. All I care about is the kills.
Supportal combat is pretty brilliant. 2-level lead now for Paz over Cog as well. This set is so big.
He's so tanky. And this Baron, the second Baron of the game, again, V3 pick it up, and it's just so hard for the side of Rascal Jester to really ever contest them. As we
going in on Boogie, there's no stop. Well, there is a Zhonya's. He's going to Zhonya's now, but I think that's going to be it. Everyone else
he's happy
around on Hachimechi. Going in is Ninja. It's a decent shove back, but actually Archer manages to flash away, so he's safe. Paz comes in with a showstopper, and there's just so much damage. Ace isn't even here, and they're winning the fight. He's taking the base in the top side. Paz is now in the flipping base, going to try and get his way out. Does finally get shut down, but he trades it back because Archer's there to clean it up. It's a 2-for-1, and Ace wasn't even there and is taking the base apart.
Yeah, Ace has just took the top in here, top turret, and now the in-hib turret, and now he's also taking the base mid turret. I'll be honest, I think Paz might be really sad about finally dying. But I don't think you're too sad when your whole team is potentially just asking, can we end this game? And the death timers are so long.
I think that's game. Yeah, there are 4 people dead for the side of Rascal Jester. It's only Vivid here. He's got no way of killing anybody or cleaning any waves. He's going to die one more time. No, he does get back to the fountain. Saves himself a little dignity. But V3 in commanding fashion take this game in 35 minutes. They have the kills, they have the gold lead, they have the Nexus, and that is GG to V3, who move up to match Rascal Jester at 5 and 7.
What game from V3. Congratulations to the side of V3. Slight commiserations to the side of the Jesters, who now have finished the series, and this week on 5 and 7, as you just said, for their 2 games of this week. Wow. God, look at Paz. He must be feeling a little bit disappointed that he's the only one that died, but then because of his death, they got the full win. As we do come back over to the desk here, Alex, otherwise known as Lex Good by Master here now. I'm still joined by Samuel Hapgood, otherwise known as Initialize on the internet. What a game from V3. So strong, so far, all the way through. Paz showing up, Hachimechi showing up, just everybody, really.
Like, I was excited to see what this Pyke could do against the kind of the set against the Tahm Kench. But when they got so tanky so fast and they won a couple early fights, V3 snowballed really well. And
They
a
did.
couple players I do want to shout out. I think Paz and Ace had one of their best games of the split. Looked really good. Were doing good damage. And that's a big deal for kind of a pair of players that have been very quiet over this split, and that's huge stuff. It wasn't Boogie running over the early game.
It was not.
They found the first blood kill on the top side eventually, as sort of with Mordekaiser pushing in, who was looking strong early on, right? He had the advantage over that set, was shoving him in. But he got turned around. The Wit's End buy was really sensible. Vivid on this Pyke could never really find an ultimate that worked. Was constantly getting chunked out by Syndra. Ace seemed to have homing beacons on his Scatter the Weeks. And yeah, just very well played by V3.
I want to give a compliment actually out to Hatchamecha. He didn't really put out a lot of damage, but what he did do is actually do something arguably just as important. He made Boogie not have as huge of an impact across a game that he normally does. He was really kind of controlling around the map. It was hard for him because the whole side of V3 had turned on, whereas his team hadn't turned on as much as they had in the past. But still, Rascal Jester going 1-1. As we've said, if you go 1-1, there's a good chance if you go in both weeks, you might make the playoffs. It's no guarantee.
It's not done yet.
But it puts you in a better spot, and it also lets you know if you go 2-0 next week, or today, actually, on the 7th, or the 8th, God, it's just Super Week's crazy, that you can still actually make 100%. If you go 2-0 for Week 7, you're in. Guaranteed playoff spots.
They could get there at this point. And, like, the Jesters are now, they're going to feel frustrated. This was a game, or versus a team they thought they could catch a win over, and they haven't pulled it off. And that is a frustration for them. We'll see how it goes as we go on. V3 aren't guaranteed either. They've got more games to play to see whether they can lock in their spot. And for the side of the Jesters, like they're going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit there, I think. Or at least think about how they're playing around some of these fights. I do want to give Hatchamecha some credit. You know, he did get a couple steals in there, which were key to stopping.
Yes, that Smite steal as well.
Sort of scaling was big. Yeah, it was a big deal. But like they were just outplayed a little bit by some of the flanks. Could never really set up a team fight where they had their carries actually free firing, and it kind of led into a pretty easy V3 victory, I want to say.
I would definitely agree with you. And we're going to find out exactly how that the 8th and final game of Week 6, our 4th game and final game of the day. It is going to be V3 Esports facing off against Burning Core. That is Burning Core, who are going to be hungry for this win. It's been a while since they've experienced a win, so they're going to be hungry, and this is where you need to pick it up. Whereas V3 probably looking to try and punch their ticket into playoffs with that second win for Week 6. We'll find out how it all goes down right after this break. Thank you so much for watching.